Sometimes the Prophet ﷺ would entertain Hafsa's questions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So when Hafsa had a confusion of two conflicting verses, and she said, how is it possible that people are not held accountable when Allah said everyone would pass by hell? And the Prophet explained to her that this passing is not entering it and being tortured, because some would pass in hell over the bridge like lightning, so they would not sense or smell hellfire on the bridge as fast as lightning or as fast as a tornado. And some would be like a person riding a fast horse, some would be running, some would be walking, some would be tripping, some would walk and then fall into hellfire. Sometimes between Asr and Maghrib, people would invite him. So some of the companions would say, "Oh Prophet of Allah, we're slaughtering a camel at this time, so can you entertain us a come?" So the Prophet comes, and sometimes he brings his wives, because slaughtering a camel is a nice thing to see. And what is more nice is what follows, that when you slaughter a cow, you would eat it, they would slaughter it and feed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to utilize this time for easy things. Once the sun set and the adhan was called, he immediately goes to salat. The Maghrib Salah was the fastest Salah of the day, between the Adhan and Iqamah. There was a small gap, and usually the Maghrib Salah is quick, but sometimes the Prophet ﷺ would prolong it. So there are narrations that once he prayed Maghrib, and he prayed by reading Surah Al-Araf, which is a long surah. Once he prayed Maghrib, he recited Surah Mursalat. Maghrib was short, and the Adhan and Iqamah is short. Immediately afterwards, he would go back to his home and pray 2 Sunnah rakats of Maghrib. The Prophet used to pray them, at Sunnah, and this is the best, more rewarding unless you have some errands, The Sunnah for the traveller is to skip the Sunnah of Dhuhr, Maghrib and Isha. The Prophet, when he travelled, he never prayed the Sunnah of Dhuhr, Maghrib and Isha, as I've mentioned. After he finishes his 2 rakats, he would sit home and just have his dinner. This is the time of eating, and if he was fasting, he would order his companions to eat first and then go for prayer. The Prophet ﷺ said, when the food is served, begin to eat before you pray. Don't rush, take your time, so that when you come to pray, you come with an attentive mind. Because if your stomach's rumbling and you're thinking about, when am I going to eat this food, you're not going to be able to concentrate in the prayer, and you're going to lose concentration. If he's not fasting, immediately after Maghrib, he goes home to eat. One of the etiquettes of all the companions, not only the Prophet ﷺ, is to eat with others. The Prophet ﷺ, whoever has a food of 2 in his home should accompany a third, meaning while going to eat, you have the food for 2. You see some poor people, come, and if you have had the food of 3, accompany a fourth. This is etiquette in Islam. Don't leave any man behind. The norm of the Prophet ﷺ is he used to accompany sometimes 10. He would select 10 poor people. Come, follow me home. He goes home and asks his wife, do you have any food? Sometimes they say no. So he says to them, I am sorry. Whatever they have of food, he says, Bismillah, John. Ibn Umar, Ibn Abbas, they would not eat alone. They would invite randoms, not friends, just not relatives or neighbors, any poor people they see. Come and follow me and join me on the food. During eating, he would not remain silent, as many people do. The Prophet ﷺ, while eating, used to speak. He used to joke with his companions and teach, and this will give food flavour. If he finds one of the children eating with his left, Ya Ghulam, oh boy, say Bismillah, eat with the right and eat from what is in front of you. So he teaches whilst eating. If he is eating with others or alone, when he finishes, he licks his fingers. The Prophet said, do this because you don't know where the barakah is. And the Prophet ﷺ is looking for barakah, so they could be in your fingers. Since when you have food, when you're eating with your fingers and you're eating that food, you lick those fingers rather than washing your hands. The Prophet said, do this because you don't know where the barakah is, you don't know where the healing, your health and is nutritious. The Prophet said, you don't know where barakah is, don't leave it for the shaitan. The Prophet ﷺ, while eating, he would inject beautiful love messages while eating. Aisha says, whenever the Prophet ﷺ ate with me, if I had a piece of meat and I took a bite of it, he would grab it from my hand and look where I put my teeth, where she actually bit into it with her teeth. He would look where it is and he would eat from it. Whenever I drank from a cup, the Prophet would take it from me and place his lips on the same place where I place my lips and drinks from it. This is what you call signs of love. You have to inject love. The Prophet ﷺ would wait in his house between Maghrib and Isha. He had his meal and had some time with his wife and guest until it was Isha prayer. And this is where I'm going to conclude the video. And in the last part, which is in the next episode, or the next part, inshallah, it will be talking about the Isha prayer and, you know, the Prophet ﷺ sleeping, what the etiquettes of sleeping. So I hope you benefited from this series, and I've watched all the other parts, and this is where I'm going to conclude it. I'll leave you here. Fi manillah. وصلى الله وبارك على نبينا محمد. استغفر الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.